Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to another Q8 pilot stream. It is 2100 hours local time, 1800 Zulu. Today, I am excited once more to welcome a very special guest here on the channel who needs no introduction, Marko Mamula, the director of Xcraft. Marko, how are you doing this evening?
Hello everyone. It's good to be back. I'm very excited to be here. We have lots of interesting and cool things to share with you, and especially our second weekly flight, real-world weekly flight, and you'll hear all about it. So good to be here.
Excellent. Welcome again, Marko. It's very good to have you here. I really enjoy all my streams with you. It's just an inspiring, inspiring event for me to fly with you and to hear all about the development of the E-jets and what you've been doing. It certainly is very interesting. Want to welcome all of you guys in chat. I hope you guys are well. Second stream in a row this week. So yeah, I feel very inspired. And when Marko told me about this weekly flight thing, I got really excited. This is today a real world ops Alaska Horizon Air Flight 2020 service from Las Vegas to San Francisco. And the weather is quite nice today. I'm going to brief you very quickly, and then we're going to get back to Marko and all the updates and the stuff that you should expect coming very soon. We're also going to be learning today about the weekly flights, as Marko pointed out, and why did Xcraft started this activity, which I'm actually very proud and very happy to be part of. So if we look at our flight today, we are Horizon Air, Alaska Airlines flight 2020 service from Las Vegas or Harry Reid International. We're going to be departing today, runway 26 right, through the Joker 3 departure, through the Keno transition. We're going to be climbing to a final cruise altitude of 36,000 feet. And we're going to be arriving at San Francisco in the state of California, runway 28 right through the Diamond 5 arrival through the Rusmi transition. The flight time today is about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Should be filled with fun, I hope, for you guys. And with that, I want to turn back to you, Marko, and I want you to tell us all about the weekly flights before we start prepping the aircraft for our flight.
All right. It's funny because usually whenever I go visit my family, which lives all across Europe, I don't have access to my development computer, so my brain just starts thinking of new things that I could create or how else could we add more value to our customers. So this Christmas, I was thinking about an ongoing kind of problem that I've always had, and that is that I usually just fly the same routes most of the time because there are just too many options. Obviously, it's like being on Netflix and you just don't know what to pick to watch because there are so many options. And then you end up spending more time searching for something than actually watching something. In the same way, for me, and I'm sure for many others, there are just too many options where to fly. And so I wanted to help. I wanted to do something about that. So I thought, okay, why don't we have a weekly real world flight plan email service where anyone can sign up? And every Friday at 4 UTC, 4 p.m., we will send you a real-world flight plan of the E-jets from somewhere around the world, and we give you all the information that you need for that flight. So all you need to do is just open one email, and we'll tell you the flight plan, we'll tell you all the weight and balance stuff, we'll tell you all the information you need to know so that you can just start a sim, fill out the FMS, program the FMS, plan the route, and just go. Which will definitely save you a lot of time and will save you just the time from just trying to pick where you're going to go. So last week we were flying in Kenya around Mount Kilimanjaro. This week, obviously, we're flying from Las Vegas to San Francisco, and we'll see where we'll fly next week. But there's been a lot of people who signed up already, so I'm really happy that happened. And we also, part of this is our new a screenshot contest, which I will talk about a bit later, maybe when we take off.
Excellent, excellent, Mark. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Very exciting. And Marco, one of the things I really like about Xcraft is the amount of information and tutorials that you've put out for the community, not just on YouTube, but I've seen the newsletters. You're very transparent. You keep everyone updated. You keep everyone covered. You're very innovative in the way that you provide help to the community, and I really appreciate that. I really dig that, and not many devs out there do what you're doing. So kudos to you, really, and the team that's working with you, and keep doing that. Keep being innovative. It really is. This is the value that we as a community look forward to, and that we expect. When we purchase, a high quality add-on, it's not just the add-on itself, but it's really the support that's behind it that really matters. I think to the vast majority of the community.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and that's exactly what I want us to do. I want to not just give people a great quality add-ons. We want to add a lot more. So we now have the free weekly flight plans. We have our newsletter. We have our free ebook where we explain, actually called Explained, with a lot of tips and tricks for anyone from the beginners to veterans. So yeah, I just really want to share all of this. And actually, one really exciting thing I want to share today is that 2024 marks 10 years of Xcraft, and I'm really, really proud of that. And so I'll definitely be running some contests, and I'll definitely come up with some cool ways to celebrate that this year. But yeah, the first E195 was released initially in 2013, December, as a beta version, but then the first non-beta version came out in 2014. 10 years ago. It's hard to believe, but here we are today. So I'm really, really happy about that.
That's excellent. That's excellent. UK Sim, hello. Diego, we have Joshua with us today. Alex, Dougal, all the regulars are here. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all well. Yuki Sim is here as well today. Welcome aboard, my friend. All right, so what we've done is here we went to the weight and balance, and we loaded the weight and balance information from our SimBrief flight plan. We've got everything here. We've loaded the plane, so the dispatch has been approved. And next we can go to the takeoff performance. We are at Las Vegas Airport. We've got the takeoff weight. The departure runway is 26 left. We can bring this over here and just leave it out. 26 right, beg your pardon. So we're going to go ahead and select 26 right. The condition is currently dry, and we can go and grab our winds real quick here. At Las Vegas today, 0. Oh, we have 0 and 0. Oh, that's clear. Okay, that's fine. So we'll go 0 and 0. And the current temperature here in Las Vegas is 17 Celsius. Oh, it's quite pleasant. I hope it stays that way. I'm sure it's not going to be as nice in during the month of June. And I'm sure most of you have learned about the news about the Tropicana Hotel closing down in April, which is a bummer, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure the guys over at 30 over at FS Expo will sort this out. So 30118. Okay, excellent. Takeoff. Now, for the takeoff, Marco, I understand that normally you derate the takeoff in perfect conditions to save on fuel and make the aircraft a little more efficient. But and during contaminated conditions, you wouldn't really do a derate. Now, takeoff 1 and takeoff 2, does it really matter in this add-on? I know it does in real life.
Honestly, in real life, I'm not sure how much big of a difference it makes. I think this is purely an airline preference. Recently, I had a pilot saying that they always take off with takeoff 3, and where's Takeoff 3? I said, oh my God, no one's ever asked about Takeoff 3, but he's from Europe. So it's Air Dolomiti. They just take off with Takeoff 3, which
see.
no other pilots ever mentioned. So it's totally a purely an airline preference. In the US, yeah, I actually can't say which one is the most used. I know that Takeoff 2 is, I've heard mostly, but really it's a totally an airline preference.
All right, then we'll go for takeoff 2. And normally the flaps, is it flaps 1 or flaps 2?
That just depends on the runway length and stuff like that.
Well, I think we have a
but
pretty long runway, so we'll just go flaps 1
Yeah.
today. All right. So we can now click here to compute. Analysis in progress. I do like the loading screen. All right, so if we've got flaps 1, runway 26 right, the takeoff gross weight is 69,624 pounds. And we have a V1 of 135, V rotate 141, and V2 142, VFS is 187. Okay, so we are done now with everything here in the load and balance and the electronic flight bag. We're going to now go to the overhead panel, and we are going to start with the battery switches, battery 1 and battery 2. Excellent. Listen to those sounds, guys. This is very, very nice sounds. We're going to cancel the master caution. We can see the alignment here in progress. We can see the clock starting. Okay, we're going to come here and we're going to check the DVDR control, DVDR test. All is good. By the way, never click this in real life. If you click this, it's actually connected to the airline, and they'll know that the pilot has erased the cockpit voice recorder, and he'll probably be suspended and will be scrutinized. And so, no, never click that. Just do the test.
I wonder why the button is even there.
I think they use it for maintenance, Marco. So only the engineers, the aircraft engineers, are authorized to use the CVR erase, according to what I know.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to come to the second part here. Fasten seatbelt sign. We are already fueled, so that's fine. Non-smoking, we can leave that. All right, we can go and start the APU right away. Let's arm the emergency lights. We'll perform the test here, make sure everything's good. Excellent, all is good. And cancel the master caution. Again, we can see that everything is working exactly as it should. And we're going to come down here and start the APU. There we go. Start. And
I have to say, I am impressed with you knowing how to do these things when you fly different planes all the time. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much, Marco. We'll leave the probes, the nav lights, everything here looks okay for the time being. The nav lights are on, so we'll just leave those on. We'll worry about the beacon a little later. And coming down here to the hydraulics is on auto. Electrical pump A. We turned this on, correct, Marco?
I knew you were going to ask me, and I have to admit that I always forget what the right answer is, because in real life, this starts some built-in power-up tests, which we currently do not have implemented. And so I'm sorry, I always get confused with the electric pump A and B sequence, because every pilot told me something else. So I know that you can definitely leave it on, like definitely nothing's gonna go wrong. But I know that it should start some built-in check inside the plane. It will start checking some like systems automatically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it, Marco. Yeah, I always wonder, do they actually turn it on and off? So, okay.
I really need to get that straight. Next time, on the next stream, I'll tell you exactly.
All right, perfect. Okay. So we can see all the displays are coming to life now and everything. I really like the displays on this aircraft. I think a lot of work has gone into the programming of these displays, and they look very, very good. And exactly as per the real aircraft. So there is, again, a very close representation, very realistic representation, authentic, of what you see in the real Embraer, and with the, the authentic FMS here. Okay, let's go to the route. We're going to check here to make sure that the date is the correct date. Today, is it the 30th today? It is the 30th. Okay.
Yes, yes,
And
it
we have
is.
the active database. I'm not sure what's happening with me with dates. I keep forgetting which day it is. Okay, so all is good here. AIRAC 2401, that's the latest. And we're going to go to the route. And the origin is Las Vegas. We are heading today to San Francisco, which is Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar. And we're going to enter that there. And the flight ID today, or the flight number, is Alaska. Alaska 2020. Again, this is a real world flight for Alaska, and now we can activate the flight. Okay, we have activated the route now. We can go to the departure, and from the departure, we're going to select the departing runway, which is 26 right in this case. And if we go here, we are doing this through the Joker 3, which is this one, and the Kano transition, which we can see here. So we'll select that and we apply. Perfect. Next, we can select the, so from Kano, if we go to our SimBrief flight plan, very short, simple flight plan today. So direct to Rosme. So we're going to type that in, RUSME. Small, medium, enterprise is SME. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so that's Resme, and then it's actually the arrival. So very, very simple route, the Diamond 5. So we're going to activate that, and then we're going to go to the arrival, and we're going to select the arrival runway, which is 28 right, which is this one here, 28 right. We're going to use the ILS 28 right, and it's going to be through the let's see here, which let me check my charts real
Should be
quick.
the Archie.
The Archie, yeah. Okay,
Yep.
I'll take your word for it. We'll select that, and then the star is going to be the Diamond 5, which is this one, and it's the Rosme transition. We've got everything here, and we're going to say apply and activate. Perfect. So if we go to our flight plan now, and we just go to next, and we're just to make sure there are no discontinuities, which there aren't, and everything is looking in tip-top shape. Perfect. Next, we're going to go
At this point,
to...
I usually always like to get people to get used to also check the flight plan on the map in the plan
gotcha.
mode, which is always a good idea, just to check that the route makes sense, kind of. If we
Alright,
go
so-
and have a look at the map.
All right, so here's the there's the map. We do have the flight plan there, and if we go to the flight plan, I love the fact that you can pop this out. That's so cool. Yeah. All right, and this is very important. I think in flight sim is to be able to pop these out, and now we can maybe this is good. Okay, now we can cycle through the flight plan here and just make sure that everything is legible.
You can also put your cursor on the waypoint center on a screen, just because I thought it was awkward that we have to use the scroll wheel button
Oops.
on the pedestal. So if you just use the where it says waypoint center on the bottom of the MFD,
Yeah, got you. Oh, wow, that's very cool.
that's a hidden click spot there to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Very easy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The same with the map range. If you hover over the map range, you'll be able to adjust it.
Is it the same click spot?
No, it will be where in the map there is the number. It says 10 right now on the left side, near the half circle.
Got you. All right, there we go. Oh, that's very cool. Oh, that's really cool. Very nice. I didn't know that. See, you always learn something new with Marco. Alrighty.
There's always lots of different options.
Yeah, wow, that's brilliant. I really like that feature. All right, now once we enter the rest of the information, you'll start seeing the profile here. We still haven't keyed in our cruise altitude, so that's why you don't see anything here. So let me get rid of this. Let's see here. All right. So we're going to come back to, actually, let me pop this out. This way, I think it's easier for you guys to see it. So we are in the performance init, page 1. I lost my screen there. Okay, perfect. All right. Damon Trader, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to have you here this evening with us. And we have also Ronald. Hello, Ronald. Welcome aboard. Or Ronaldo. Sorry, Ronaldo. How are you? Any ETA for the RNAV procedure and FMS speed? I think that's for you, Marko.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question is any ETA for the RNAV procedures and FMS speed?
Yes. ETA, no. But it is the next version we're working on, so that is the good news. So the next version is going to be 1.1.0, which is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that because we will be pretty much adding most of the things that everyone has been asking for, starting with FMS speed. We will have our RNP approaches implemented correctly with the glide path mode. I mean, that's what we're working on right now. So hopefully we'll be able to figure it out correctly, but we are working on that now. FMS speed we're working on. There are too many things actually. We will have the steep approach implemented, the E170, E190. We will have autopilot constants and auto throttle constants improved and fine-tuned. We will have weight imbalance over weight imbalance in all the AJets will be reviewed and fine-tuned. We will have new pop-up screens that you will not only be able to pop up in the sim in the cockpit, so like you just did now, you'll also be able to pop them out of the sim, have them as separate windows. If anyone wants to do that, you'll even be able to manipulate values on those popped up screens. So a million things. So I'm really, really excited about the next version.
That is definitely very exciting. And I want to welcome Timmy Captain to Private Pilot. Welcome aboard, my friend. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Bomb Tech, welcome aboard. Good afternoon to you. All right. So we are here in the FMS takeoff page, and we've got there a couple. I don't think we need to put the wind. This is the runway wind, so this is something we need to grab from Navigraph, the excellent tool for anyone serious about flight simming. This is an absolute must-have. So the winds are calm, so we can just put 0 and 0. Didn't take that. Do I need to put something other than 0
Maybe
for? Yeah, it's not. Doesn't want.
I'm not sure right now, honestly. Try 0 0.
0 0
Sure. I'll have to look into
0
that.
and 0 0. Let's see if that works. No. Okay. Well, I'll just put 1 and 1. How's that? How about that? That works. Okay. Perfect. And the next page here.
I'll put that on my to-do list to check.
Yeah, flaps 1. So in the FMS, Marko, how do I change this to flaps 1?
On the right side, you have the OR, so press the top button on the right.
Oh, okay.
That
Ah,
will bring you to the
gotcha.
page.
All right, perfect. Perfect. All right, so that's very helpful. All right. So we've got flaps 1, takeoff CG 17.8. We're going to go takeoff 2 for the, we're going to derate the takeoff. Takeoff temp plus 12 Celsius, and flex mode is off here. So if we go to the takeoff, now there are 2 ways we can do this. We can either use the data link, or we just can simply copy the values from the EFB. Which one should we do, Marko?
Let's do the data link because I think everyone knows how to enter it manually, but not
All right.
everyone might.
So if we
know
go
or
to
remember.
the data link, it says load takeoff V speeds. First, we're going to come here to the takeoff performance, and we're going to say send it to the FMS. Now you see that this is in green, so it's active, and now you can actually click here, and now the takeoff speeds are loaded. And if we go back, let me go to, no, we're going to go to performance, and we're going to go to takeoff.
Yeah.
And now you'll be able to see, let me clear this. Okay, so now you can see that we have all the information here already, 135, 141, 143, and 187. And believe it or not, Alex has done it again, just gifting 5 Q8 pilot memberships. Thank you very much, Alex, for your support. I appreciate it very much, sir. Very, very kind of you. 2 days in a row. Thank you, Alex. Grazie. Okay, so we've got the takeoff data, and I think everything is now pretty much set. We are ready to go, so we're going to set the flight plan here. We're going to remove this, and the only thing we haven't done is we need to set our altitude, which is 36,000 feet. Let me bring this up so you guys also can follow what I'm doing. Oops. All right. So let me just, all right. So here's the alts, where is it? No, that's FPA, alt select. There we go. So we're going to set this to 36,000 feet. That's too much. All right, there we go. 36,000 feet. And we need the altimeter, which is 3018, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check here. 3018. That's correct. Okay, perfect. So the barrow, 30, let's change that. There we go, 3018 is now set. Okay, and auto brake to rejected takeoff, and we are now ready for pushback and engine start. Have we missed anything, Marco? Are we good to go?
Did you set trim to 4.5, I believe was?
Yeah, the trim we haven't set, so let's go ahead and do that. Why is my trim? Okay, there we go. 4.5 is now set. Perfect. And we are now good to go. Let's turn on the beacon lights. Where are we? Beacon light is on, and let's get the pushback truck to get us out of here. Plugins, better pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
I think that's fine. Wherever it puts us there.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Alrighty. Ah, we forgot the... Let's go back. Ground services. We'll remove the engine covers. Okay. Just look at the beauty of this aircraft. The modeling, Marco, is really very, very nice. Phenomenal representation of the aircraft. I love it. It's really, really very well done.
Looking at it now, I think we could switch to the enhanced winglets, because that's what the real plane would have for this livery. You can also have the wheel cover. So if you go on top left and the window into the E175 settings menu.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed.
Okay.
Ready to connect.
Is it here in the EFB?
No. It would be just on the top screen. Settings at the bottom. Under the EFB.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I would have told you better, but like I see everything like 4 seconds delayed. So
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know
Yeah,
So
I'm aware
just
of that.
Not on the EFB. It's just in the X-Plane window on the top X-Plane bar.
Okay.
Where you have the E175, you have 4 options, and on the EFB you have settings. So there you have the additional. It's like a configuration.
Gotcha.
Plane that you should just set
So
once, pretty much, for the
and
flight.
bypass
That's why it's not
inserted.
on the EFB.
Release
Because
parking
this is
brake.
not connected to the flight. This is just kind of connected to the plane
Okay,
itself.
so what is it that you want me to show?
At the bottom, do use wheel covers and use extended winglets.
Use extended, all right, so use wheel covers and extended winglets. Okay, look, you get the message here. All right, let's take a look. Oh, look at that.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, I think it's waiting for us to release the parking brake.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Oh, how cool is that? That's really nice. Oh, better pushback is doing strange things, folks. That's okay. All right.
Now,
I think
this morning when I was trying this flight, I have discovered a long-lasting bug that I never knew how to figure out because I could never replicate it. What will happen is that we will not see the V-speeds on the PFD. We'll hear the sound, and I finally found why. It's because there's a condition that the V-speeds only show up under a certain altitude, but I should have used the radio altitude for that. But I used the barometric altitude, so pretty much now we are at like 1800 feet with the barometric altitude, so it just breaks the condition, so that will also be fixed in the next version. It's always something so small and trivial, but you know, it takes a while to find it because we get a report like, hey, I can't see the V-speeds, and I'm like, okay, why? There could be seemingly, it just doesn't make sense because I take off from a different airport and I see them, and it's not always easy to understand. So now I was just happy this morning when I was doing this flight that I found it. I already fixed it on my end, so next version is gonna have that fixed.
Cool. That's good to know. We have with us Rand Cooley. You've been away, my friend, for some time. Glad to have you here. I'm not sure what's going with the better pushback, so I'm just going to stop the push. There we go. And we're going to start the...
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right, and let's take this away. Parking brake set. The sounds are phenomenal.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All the sounds are done very, very well. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I can see in the chat someone's asking, will the pop-outs ever be full pop-outs that I can use on another screen? Yes, that's exactly what we will have in our next version 1.1.
Oh, that's good to know. That's really good. Yeah, that would be a nice feature. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's disconnect. All right, I think we'll do the preparations for the takeoff right after we arrive to the runway. So we'll, you know, configure all our buttons. You agree, Marko?
Yep.
Okay, and we're gonna go flaps 1. So we'll set.
So is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Thank you for your service. And we are good. All right. So parking brake is released. And let's go. We'll give it a little power here. I'm really enjoying the Thrustmaster joystick as the throttle quadrant and the yoke. Did I actually set the brake? No, it is released. Okay. All right, let's give it more power here. All right, and off we go. By the way, folks, Marko has given me a link to a plugin that really fixes the cockpit, the dark cockpit in X-Plane. It's a Lua script, and I think it works pretty well. I'm using it. Thank you, Marko, for that. I really appreciate it. I think it does improve the overall lighting in X-Plane, but also resolves the dark cockpit issue. So I really like it.
Good, yeah, I was wondering because I could tell it does make the cockpits a little bit bluer, but
it does, yeah.
It makes them so much brighter, and it also just kind of improves the exposure a lot.
Yeah,
so
without a doubt.
I got it a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or so, and yeah, I can't fly without it now anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will be fixed by X-Plane itself. But
hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully
that will take a bit more time.
I'll link the
the plugin is called RXP X-Plane 12 Enhancer.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can have the link in.
Let me see if I'll make a video on it, guys. How about that? But yeah, for those of you guys, I'm not sure what kind. You know what? I know you guys are going to be itching for it, so so here, let me do
idea.
Yeah, let me do one thing. Let me see, guys. It pays to be with Marko on stream because you get to find out about these cool things. Here's the plugin. Let me copy that, and let me just stop here. We don't want to hit the wall. And let me go to YouTube. And where is my channel? No, that's my account. No. Viewer channel. All right, so we're gonna come here, and we're gonna stop that. And then I'm going to paste that here. All right, there you go, guys. All right. Now you have the link. You can click that, and you should be able to download it, and it should work. It does work. It does work. For those of you who are comfortable with Fly with Lua, you should have no problem downloading it and using it. And guys, it really does work. And it approved also. There's an optional fixes for the night lighting in X-Plane. It reduces the spill lights of the cars and the street poles lights as well. So I highly recommend it. Very, very good. I'll make a video on it, guys, for those of you who are, not able to install it. But definitely, I recommend it.
Yeah, it was really good. I recommend it. It's got a lot of options, a lot of different settings, but even just leaving it on default, that's already a big difference, improvement.
All right, we are. I think we can. This is 26 right. I think this is the entry into the runway. So we're going to make the right turn. We're going to hold short and configure the aircraft for our departure. There we go. 26 rights. Hold short. We'll just wait here. We'll set the brake. All right, parking brake is set. Brilliant. And now we can go to. All right, so the first thing we're going to go here and we're going to make sure we select FMS is selected. So we're going to select the flight directors. So flight director is on.
You just really need to press two buttons now. You want to press toga on the throttle, and you want to press auto throttle button on the glare shield panel, and that really takes care of all the additional buttons.
Okay, so toga is this button here, correct?
It's on the side of the throttle.
Yeah, it's the button on the kind of halfway.
Side,
yeah. So if we click that. And then we click on auto throttle on the glare shield.
Yep.
Okay.
So as soon as you click on toga, you'll see that the flight director changes to the crossbar flight director.
Correct.
Which is needed for the takeoff. And it also arms all the LNAV and VNAV. And clicking auto throttle on the ground will arm auto throttle, and then we'll need to push the throttles forward in order to engage the auto throttle.
All right, perfect. So let me release the parking brake now, and we're good to go. Let me increase
I think we can decrease the speed for 210 also.
All right, 410. Let's see. So should we do 180 or 140?
No, let's do 210.
210.
On real
okay.
plane, you would have like V1 plus 5 or 10, but right now, while we don't have FMS speed, we just recommend doing 180 or 210. If we're flaps 1, then do 210, and yeah, that's all you need to do.
Wow, guys, look at this beautiful aircraft in a beautiful sim.
I love that livery. It's just so cool. I made this livery myself.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Because the first time I saw it, I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. Like they call it meatball livery. And yeah, I saw it months before I finished D-Jets, and I was kind of rushing to be the first one to make it, and I managed to do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Very talented, Marko. Very talented. All right, we're good to go, and we are cleared for takeoff. Everything's set. Our lights are set. Strobes are set. And the only thing we need to do now is push the throttle. So do we push it all the way, or do we push it just until it kind of picks
forward.
up?
Go all the way. And then
Okay.
it's going to take over anyway.
All right,
But
here
you
we
just push it all
go.
the way.
All right, and we can see that it indeed has taken over, and we can see that the thrust is derated. Right, we see the hold there. Excellent. And we'll wait for V1. All right, and I lost the speeds there, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate now.
Rotate, V2.
All right, rotate, okay. Alrighty. And positive rate, gear is going up. Look at how beautiful X-Plane 12 and this X-Craft's Embraer is. Wow. Lovely departure. And here is a flyby for you guys. Gotta love it. All right, let's concentrate a little bit here. And I think we can go to, we can engage the autopilot now.
Yep.
So autopilot's engaged, and we're gonna go to nav. Oh, or VNav is, LNav is already engaged, so do we just go nav?
No, you don't press anything. That's why you press toga. So once you press toga, it will turn the specific and correct modes on at the right moment.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay, but I see that we now have green flight level change, which is not.
Yeah,
VNav,
so we need
just
to
press
VNav. There we
VNav
go.
again.
Yeah. All right, perfect.
So yeah, the EJets are kind of almost counterintuitively simple because they do a lot of the work for you, and a lot of things that you would have to press on other planes you don't have to do here. So really for takeoff, you only press toga, press auto throttle, and then just push the throttles forward, and that's it. And it takes care of everything else. Then you just enable autopilot at the whenever you want, kind of from anywhere from above 100 feet above the ground to 10,000, depending on your preference. Some pilots like to fly the plane, but yeah, usually for passenger comfort, they turn it on as soon as possible.
I'm gonna bring the sound, the interior sounds down a little bit, so I can better hear you, Marko. I think that's good, right there. All right, we're looking good, and we are now through 8,000. Looks like there is a restriction here. I love this about the Embraer, how it just respects all the restrictions, all the constraints on takeoff and landing. There was a approach I did, I can't remember which airport it was, but it had a step descent, and it's just amazing watching the aircraft, how it just respects all the restrictions exactly as per the Navigraph charts. And it was just at every restriction, it stops there until, and you see the TOD for the next one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is ridiculously complicated to calculate, and that's all Steve Wilson's VNav work. So I definitely applaud him for that. It's been so much work, so much math. Like that's exactly why we have our another newsletter, because I cannot cover how complex these things are in live streams or in comments somewhere. So that's why then we have those another newsletters where I go a little deeper and I explain what the intricacies of this are in a fun way.
All right, I've changed the speed now to 250 knots as we get closer to 10,000 feet. And we're going to continue the climb to, I've turned off the landing lights. I love the automation in the Embraer. Just like you said, Marko, very intuitive aircraft to fly. I'm sure that, real world pilots really enjoy flying this aircraft. I think they appreciate the automation.
Yeah, they do. They really do. I've talked to many who changed from the E-Jets. They went on 320s or 747 even, and they all miss the E-Jets.
So in this version, I can't recall if it has the ILS auto tune or not.
Not yet. So that's also something that will come in the next version.
Let's see.
So
Wow,
we'll
it looks
just
like
have
the
to
next
enter
version
the-
is jam-packed with new features.
Yeah, exactly. I'm almost
Yeah.
wondering, like, should I just stretch it out into more versions? But no, really, we do want to give all these features to the users, and we just needed to make sure that everything else is ready for it, because we can't just develop a whole new big feature without everything else kind of on the back end working correctly. So we had to spend a few months just making sure that we fix all the bugs that are in the way, and now that we have a clear path forward, we can add all of these very desirable features that I'm really looking forward to.
I think there's a question there. Ned Bowen, sorry, is asking, what's the timeline for the next version? I'm sure that's a question you don't like.
Yeah, I don't like to answer because I really don't know. There's so many things that we want to work on, so many things we've never worked on before, so we don't know how long they will take. About a couple of months, we'll see. Because this is a much bigger update than our previous updates, which we were like spitting out monthly pretty much, which included a lot of bug fixes. But now we are really working on something brand new that will need a lot of work. So yeah, I would say the first quarter of this year, that's what I would hope for, but we'll see.
Good. That's actually not too far away, so yeah, we're cool about that. Mr. Donavia, hi, is this new textures? Do you mean the cockpit textures? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow the question.
I think it's because they look bluer and lighter, so it's the plugin. It's there.
Yeah, it's the plugin I'm using. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. We could actually go in and turn it off for a moment to see what the difference is.
Yeah, we can do that. We can go to fly with Lua, and where is it? Disable? No.
Plane just restarted our climb nicely after the restriction.
Yeah, it did. It said we saw the flight change, and yeah, that's exactly what it did. I think we can increase the speed now to about 270 knots.
270, yeah, we can do 270.
All right, let's do that. 270 knots. There we go. 270 knots is set, and we climb through. All right, let me take a look here. Let me show you this script, guys, real quick. Fly with where is it? Okay. So Reality XP enhancer. That's the one. Okay, so this is the enhancer. Okay, and you've got a bunch of options there, and it's actually a pretty well written script. You know, it says enable FXAA with MSAA. It says can reduce aliasing a little bit more at night. You know, it explains to you what these actually do, and we can actually remove all of these. Now you can see things are starting to change. So yeah. Now this is X-Plane default. So this is what things would look like normally. So if I bring all of this back, then you get this little bluish color there. So yeah, and then you can come here, fly with Lua, reload all the scripts. There we go. And you get this bluish color because of the exposure is different. So this Lua script changes the exposure, and it kills this problem with the dark cockpit in X-Plane. Is it normal for the real world?
It always takes a moment to...
Yeah, go ahead.
Question. No, I was just gonna say that it takes a few seconds before the plugin does its thing. Even when you're turning it off, it always takes a few seconds before it goes to the normal X-Plane.
Correct.
Lighting and vice versa.
All right, we're going to set the barrow to standard. And there's a question from Donnie. Raul, how are you doing, my friend? Thrust Simulations, welcome, guys. Thank you very much for your support. And Donnie is asking, is it normal for the real-world E-Jet's engine to spool up and decrease a few percentage when I set takeoff thrust? I automatically... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer that. I would say no, probably the real ones would just stop immediately, but we've kind of ran into a limitation with an X-Plane. When we are trying to limit the N1, we are limiting it, but X-Plane just always overshoots it and then it goes back, and we've not really been able to identify why, because we're really setting the limits always. So that's just probably one of the quirks of a flight simulator.
I recently started using the Thrusmaster yoke, so I forgot to map my X camera views. But here's a look at this beautiful wing view. Oh god, this looks really good. Yeah, look at that, guys. Very, very nice indeed. You know, every time I try the Flight Sim Studios embraer, I always think of you, Marko, because I know it's I know it's your model.
My models.
So, yeah. Hey Q8, I recently got the Fly Factor A350 and I wanted to know, does it come with the latest AirAC on purchase? No, it does not. You have to update it, James. And you're going to need something like a Navigraph subscription or Airsoft subscription to update it. So
now...
Go ahead.
Sorry, you're going to ask. You go ahead.
No, please go ahead, Marko.
Right, well, I was just going to say that now might be a good time to mention our screenshot contest that we have.
Please go ahead.
So we do have our weekly flight plans where you subscribe, and every Friday you'll receive an email with all the info you need for the flight. And then we also have a contest that if you submit a screenshot from that flight, you can do it 4 times a month, once a week. And we will, at the end of the month, we will randomly pick one screenshot that was posted in that forum section, who will win $50 store credit for the explain.org store that you can use for whatever add-on you want. So it's definitely a good idea to go subscribe to the flight plans, then post a screenshot, and you might be in for a chance of winning $50 store credit. That's happening every month. This is going to be an ongoing contest, so you can always do this.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Pretty exciting stuff. You know, I'm amazed, Marko, at the. See, as I, you know, that's one of the things, by the way, I do when I review aircraft is I zoom in very, very close, and there is a lot of work that you guys have done on these textures. They're just really phenomenal.
Yeah, from a certain angle, you can see the fingerprints on the buttons too. It's not always visible.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people ask me, Marko, what do I think about, you know, should they get the FSE or the X-Craft? And you know, from the visual perspective, it's a very clear, it's no contest. Of course, the X-Craft models are superior from the visual perspective. The only thing with the FSE, and I know this is maybe an area not very comfortable for you to talk about, but
I'm very happy to talk about it.
Okay, so on the FSE models, they do have, for example, the FMS speed programmed. They do have the ILS auto tuning as well. But what I've noticed with that aircraft is that its autopilot has a lot of issues. So it's pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, it's broken, autopilot. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. And from the visual perspective, I think it needs a lot of work as well. Whereas and of course, I think what makes a big difference is the website, is the X-Craft website, which is, you know, it's got wealth of information about the add-on, tutorials, the liveries, and there is constant support from everyone involved in the project. So when people now ask me, which one do you recommend? I recommend the X-Craft model. I feel that it's better value for money, if you ask me. That's how I position the X-Craft versus the FSE. But having said this, Marko, how come they were able to program the FMS speed and the ILS auto tuning on release?
Well, thank you very much, first of all. It almost sounds as if I paid you to say all of that nice stuff. They are probably superhumans. I don't know. We were working on a lot of things on the FMS speed. We were working on many other features, but at a certain point, after working for 3.5 years, there are a lot of things at play. For example, mental health. We also need to feed our families, and it's not just for that. Like, we simply needed that mental point where we can say, okay, we can release this, people will definitely be able to fly it. And the idea to not include FMS speed initially was not our idea. It was an idea of an E-Jet instructor who's been working very closely with us. He said, look, like that's a nice to have thing, obviously, and of course, all pilots use it when they can, because why wouldn't you? But you can always use the manual speed. And so we were just really in a low point, trying to figure out how can we release the products and make them stable, because the FMS speed was still a lot of work. And if that didn't work, it would break VNAV completely. And then I just didn't want to take the risk of releasing a plane saying, look, we just tried to jam pack everything in, but then it would break. You know, FMS speed might not work correctly, VNAV would break, and it would just be a storm of negative comments. So I'd rather make smaller steps and slower steps and work towards like, you know, stability. That's really, really important to me and to us. So that was just a conscious decision to do that. We just did not have the mental capacity and the resources to include everything in it immediately. And that's also shown by how much work we've done since the release, and we still didn't get to the FMS speed because there are still so many things we wanted to make sure that are right and stable. So what we are really working on here is to create a platform of E-jets for many years to come. Like this, for me, is not a sprint, it's really a marathon. And it's all about, okay, all the things will come, and most of the things will actually come in the next version already. So I don't know why they probably just, I mean, I don't know, they probably just prioritized those things over other things, and that's probably the simplest answer to that.
I see.
But yeah.
Sorry guys, it's not FSE. It's I think flight simulation procedures. It's the
right.
Formerly known as SSG. So they've created an embraer as well. But in all honesty, guys, and I'm not just saying this because Marko is with us here. I've said this many times on my other streams. If you are looking for an embraer, I recommend Xcraft over any other. I recommend it even over the Flight Sim Studios for MSFS. Though that one has, you know, the interior textures are photoreal textures somewhat. I still prefer actually the textures on this Xcraft as opposed to the one in MSFS. Omari Joseph, my dear friend from the Caribbean, hello, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here with us.
Yeah, I'd like to mention also that on our website, you will not only find stuff related to our products, but I've been really trying to kind of put together some really good quality resources for just general explain stuff, because I know it's not always easy to find information online. You would have to somehow dig around the forums and look at lots of different places. So, you know, I've written in the meantime lots of just simple and on point how to guide on how to install aircraft, how to activate aircraft, what's nav data, how to use the updater, how to boost your frame rates, how to, you know, lots of different things, how to fix blurry displays in X-Plane 12. So you can always go to xcrafts.com for anything and everything for easy experiences in X-Plane, pretty much.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I vouch for that for sure. Very quickly, guys, we're going to set things for landing, and then we're going to go back and chat a little bit more with Marko, pick his brain on a few things. We're going to look at the weather here at San Francisco, and it looks like we have, you know, pretty pleasant weather at San Francisco. A few clouds in the vicinity as we arrive. Winds are not too bad. The visibility is okay. Scattered clouds at 20,000. The ceiling at least 12,000 feet AGL. Temperature 16 Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit. Very pleasant, nice temperature. All right, so we're going to put the winds here 360 and 360. Let's see, 6 knots, and the temperature is 16. The QNH over at San Francisco is 3004, and now flaps 5 or flaps full, Marko?
Usually flaps 5.
Flaps 5, okay. And so I would assume that flaps full is used only if it's a really short runway.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know the real rules, but usually I've been told that most of the time land on flaps 5.
All right. Now the weight, total takeoff weight was 69624. The landing weight, should we just kind of deduct a couple of £1,000 from this for
You can go to the MFD screen, the status page, and
All
then
right,
you'll see
let's
the
do
current
that.
thrust weight.
All right, status page. Let's see. There we go.
And I don't have a rule of thumb. I honestly just deduct a few £100 depending on how far I am. But you'll see it on top of the screen there, gross weight, and yeah, that's what I use.
All right, so we have here 66870. And we have here, all right, so we'll make it, how about we make it 66 even?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. So 66,000. Okay, icing, no, currently no icing. Reversers are operational, and compute. Oh, I need to hit enter. There we go, compute. Excellent. Now, as you can see, folks, now we have the landing flaps. Flaps 5, it gives you the speed, 126. Go around flaps 2, 150. VAP, so the approach speed is 131. And now we can say send this to FMS, and we can now do the same thing that we've done earlier. If we go to the data link, and now we're going to say, you can see now load landings V speeds is in green. That means that we have successfully loaded the speeds here, and we're going to click here, and now we have these speeds. If we go back to perf and we go to landing, you can see now, of course, we need to put a few more information. So the landing weight we need to put here, so 66000. We're going to add there. The wind is I believe 0 and 06. So 0 and 6, I hope it takes that. Yeah, it does. And the landing temperature is going to be, was it 16 Celsius? So we're going to add that there. Now, Marko, let me ask you this question. I know that I'm keying, the temperature here and the wind, but let me ask you, because I've always wondered, those numbers, as you key those numbers, do they actually have an effect on calculated performance data for takeoff and landing?
For the landing page, not currently. That's there for just kind of for knowing the right procedures and flows. But
see.
it will, like the EFB is what calculates currently all the landing speeds.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah. All
In the
right.
future, for sure. Lots of things that we would love to improve. Not enough of us working on it, but yeah.
How big is the team currently, Marko?
Well, currently we have 2 new software developers, which is quite exciting for this new year. It all started with just pretty much 2 of us, or 3 of us, me, Steve, and Todd, like, who was doing all the sounds. And over the years, we've had people kind of join us for certain projects or so. But right now, there are 4 people other than me working on the next version of the E-Jets, which is very cool. One of our developers is now starting to work, or actually 2 of them are currently working on the ERJs for version 4X-Plane 12, which I saw somebody ask in the comments. So yes, we're already also working on the ERJs for X-Plane 12, which is going to be quite a lot of work as well. But we are on it. And so yeah, that's pretty much the size of our team. So I would say usually around 5 people or 6, plus loads of beta testers, lots of pilots, and that are all very closely involved in the development. And what I'm doing right now is I am working on the Lineage 1000. I'm still doing the modeling because the Lineage has some very, very intricate cabin, like very luxurious cabin inside. And so I'm right now working on the stairs, which have about 1 million pieces, and they fold perfectly into each other, and they have to unfold, which is a lot of fun. but it is also a lot of work because there are so many details and there are very, very few photos of the stairs or videos anywhere online because there are only, I don't know, about 30 of those planes in the world. So finding photos of those or up close photos is very, very difficult. So I'm kind of having to scramble and trying to find the right angle of photos to make those stairs, but I already have a pretty good version. I'm really excited for that, to see that in X-Plane, and for everyone to see that. So that's definitely something interesting. And I want to mention, actually, on our last stream here a few months ago, somebody in the comments asked, hey, are you doing the Lineage 1000? Because I'm a pilot of it. And I said, yes, please email me after, because I've been looking for Lineage pilots forever and I could never find one. So I got in touch with him and he asked me, so have you ever been on a plane? And I said, you know what, I've never actually been on a real E-Jet. I've only been on an E-Jet twice in my life before that as a passenger. I've never been to the cockpit, never been anywhere around it. So imagine, I know all the screw in the cockpits all around the plane, every single screw under every seat. I've never really seen it in real life. It was just all just thousands of videos and photos that I had to get. But he was like, all right, I'm gonna get you to one. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, 9 in the morning on a Sunday, I was traveling to London Luton Airport to visit a Lineage that was just parked there, waiting to take off in about an hour and a half after, which was an incredible experience for me because this jet cost like $52 million, and I was just walking around, and it was hilarious because the flight attendants were just getting ready for the flight. The pilots were getting ready, and I was running around with a measuring tape and with a camera and with like charts and schematics of the cabin and measuring every doorknob. And the crew was very confused. So at some point, one of the flight attendants just came to me and she's like, so what are you doing here? So I had to explain, like I make planes for flight simulators, and so I'm trying to make we're working on this one right now, so I have to measure everything in the cockpits and in the cabin so I can recreate it. She looked very confused, but she let me continue. So yeah, I spent about an hour and a half in this jet, which was just insane. So then I just have hundreds of photos and measurements. I came back home, I checked them against my model. I realized that my model was totally wrong, not totally, but quite off in certain places. So that also kind of made things, extended things or the work on it, because I had to go and redo a lot of the models. But we will definitely have the most accurate Lineage 1000 model that anyone has ever created, I bet. Just like the rest of the E-Jets, honestly, because I don't think anyone came this close and anyone spent that much time on it as I did. But yeah, that was all thanks to you and for inviting me on the stream. Otherwise, it would not have happened. So thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. See, guys, it pays to be on the Q8 pilot stream.
That was quite incredible. Quite incredible.
Wow, that's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if we've reached the top of descent. Let me check.
I don't think so, but maybe you want to zoom out on the map because it's all.
Yeah, I can see it now. There's TOD. I don't think we're, by the way, far off from top of descent. So, yeah, I think now the nice thing about the E-Jets is you don't have to worry about the restrictions because it's going to take the aircraft autopilot system will take care of it for you. So we're going to set up the altitude. We're going to reset the altitude to 1,800 feet, and it should begin the descent when it needs to. There's the top of descent marked right there. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to 1,800. There we go. 1,800 feet is set, and we're good. Yeah, that was really a cool story, Marko. I didn't know that. I knew that you told me that he's actually sent you an email, but I didn't know that it went. It went as far as taking you on the Lineage.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
it was very, very cool. Yeah. But I think right now you set the altitude to 18,000, so you wanna go 1,800.
Oh, that's right, 1,800. Yeah. I'll select. Okay, let's go there. And to make this, I think you click on it, and then you change this to hundreds, right?
No, it's just like you go a bit closer to the middle of it.
Ah, there
so
we
there
go.
are like two
Okay, gotcha.
manipulators next to each other, closer
right.
and further
There we
out.
go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Pressing that knob would just display the altitude in meters as well on the P.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So, Marko, let me ask you a question. You know, it's brilliant that you've been doing this for 10 years now, and that is a very long time. That is like an entire generation when you measure the actual years. Is it worth it? Has it really put food on the table? Is it really a viable thing to do? And do you ever see yourself not doing this in the future?
Well, that's something that kind of goes on through my mind all the time. I think everything that we do, all the decisions that I make from the business point of view, I try to make sure that the company still exists in 10 years, pretty much. That's all I care about. So I'm really aiming for kind of sustainability, as with anything else. So I'm not trying to, like, I like to say, we want to be great, not big. I don't want to grow and just be like a bubble and burst. Try to produce as many add-ons as possible. It's definitely a lot of work. Unfortunately, I don't get to spend as much time developing the planes anymore, as much as just I have to just manage the company, make sure that it works right, make sure that the team works well together, and that we deliver what we promised. Right now, I am very grateful that it has allowed me to put food on the table. What do I want to say, on the floor? I don't know. We do have a table, but I also I'm pretty young. I'm 30 years old. My expenses are not that big, and I'm just getting married in a few months, so that's going to be very interesting, and I'll see how my life's going to change. And I do wonder, okay, is this actually a viable option for having a family? I do not know. And one of the problems is that I always have to think, we have to rely on new customers only. When we don't have a way to kind of, although, let me put it this way, although our customers pay us once, we try to give them value for as long as we can, which is actually dangerous from like the business point of view, because we cannot drain ourselves completely. Therefore, like, for example, if other industries, when they have a subscription-based model, that works differently, because you have your base of customers who like your product and they can support you every month. We don't have that, so we have to constantly rely on new customers coming in, which is really not easy. And it is something that I'm thinking about a lot, but I am hopeful and doing everything I can that we will still be here in 10 years, stronger than ever. So fingers crossed, and I hope everyone will join us on the ride.
Well, I'll tell you, Marko, you'll have my support always for as long as I'm here, and for as long as you are there. You can count on my support always.
Thank you.
Actually, I really, when I started with X-Plane, the X-Craft was an aircraft that I was introduced to a little later on in the journey. I think that the very first aircraft that I personally purchased was the Flight Factor 777 Extended Edition. And when I got the X-Craft for the first time, I don't think that it had the authentic FMS. I think it had the older version. And I felt that it was very intimidating when I first tried it the first time. And I said, there's got to be something a little bit easier than this. This is too complex.
Well, it was kind of a double-edged sword, because we didn't have the skills to develop an authentic FMS yet, but we did want to provide more than the default X-Plane FMS. So we designed a hybrid. Of course, in hindsight, yes, it actually ended up being more complicated and less intuitive than other FMSs. But it was all just like we all had to get there. We all had to learn. These are very, very, very complicated things that in real life, you know, people have to solve. Those engineers have to solve the same problems, but there are hundreds of them, and they have fundings of millions of dollars. We don't have that, and yet we are actually working on very similar problems, working with very similar data. So, yeah, like we all learned. It's 10 years now. We've learned so much that we are here, and we can show what we have right in front of us. But it took us time to get there, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it paid off, Marko. I think you have an excellent product. You have a very supportive community. You've got fans. But sometimes, you know, what you mentioned something very, very interesting, and I always thought about it. So in a lot of the, you know, and we are seeing now with the advancement of technology and, you know, using cloud services, the subscription model has become more or less an acceptable, you know, model, an acceptable business model, both from the consumer perspective and obviously from the, you know, business money-making perspective. It is more lucrative. And I always wondered, how can developers sustain a steady cash flow when they only get paid once and that's it? So if you don't, if for example, with a niche market like X-Plane, for example, once everyone who's interested in the aircraft purchases the aircraft, then that's it. Your you know, your cash flow stops. So how does that work?
Well, it doesn't. That's exactly the problem. Right? I can no longer put food on my floor.
Wow.
No, I mean, yeah, that is the problem. So we rely on X-Plane having new users come to X-Plane, and then new users come to Xcrafts or any other developer. I mean, I've always thought about the subscription-based model, and I'm the same like everyone else. I'm human, and when I hear subscription-based for something I'm already paying for, I'm like, I don't want to do that. But it really makes a lot of sense for the developers, because technically we could just sell our product now and then never do anything else. And that would kind of be fair, right? Like you paid for what we gave you and we're equal, but we're not like that. We just keep giving you more updates, but we're not being paid more for it. So when does this stop? So that is always the question. And it's something I'm just exploring in my mind. How could this work so that everyone is happy? I definitely wouldn't want to do something that people would be angry about. I would like to do something that allows us to continue doing this, but it also allows everyone to be happy with what they're paying for. And I think the start is having great product that people want to keep, because if you don't have good products, then why should anyone subscribe to them, right? They would just use them once and then they'll just unsubscribe and that's it. Then the whole model breaks down as well. So there are advantages, disadvantages to it all. I would definitely love to know what kind of the community thinks about this.
Well,
it's definitely something I think I'll...
You know, it's very interesting that you said this, because in the back of my head I was saying, you know, I was just envisaging you sending a newsletter and saying, oh, now, you know, Xcraft's going to be a subscription-based add-on, and I'll tell you, Marko, you're going to get grilled by the community.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to just do it. It would definitely be a lead up. It would probably be different. It would probably be like an add-on. Like maybe we could have a pro version with a lot of different additional features that some people might be interested in, that are really into it. So that could maybe be a subscription that would allow you to have all the products that we have, plus a lot of additional features. That might be one way of doing it. So whoever doesn't want to do that, they can still just buy the normal version with what it has now and what it will have still. But yeah, at some point we will have to stop adding new features if we're not being paid more for them. So we'll see. There's no rush right now.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Yeah, already see in chat we're getting a little bit a glimpse of what the community would think. So Chris is saying, don't give him any ideas, Sam.
I have all the ideas in my head already, don't worry.
Yeah,
But
and then
I-
TFK Langsing are saying, well, if it means that we keep getting priced nice planes, please give him ideas. So, yeah, I think you'll get that divide, Marco. But I think the vast majority will not like that unless there is a substantial value that they're going to get that warrants it.
Yeah, especially since nobody has done that yet with add-ons. But although Navigraph is doing that, right? And of course,
Yeah.
it does update it every month, but kind of so do we, pretty much. But yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be a hard cutoff where it would just be like, oh, we're now only subscription-based, because I know that nobody would like that, including us. So nobody has to worry. Just keep calm, enjoy our planes, and we'll see. I mean, our only motivation is to make sure that we can keep making these planes for the community. That's really what we want to do.
Yeah, and obviously it has to make business sense for you to be able to sustain the business. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. As one more thing I wanted to mention, quite some very fresh or current news. So what's today? Tuesday. In 2 days, on Thursday, I will be flying to Montreal for a very special convention organized by Laminar Research for all the developers and other people. Are you going by any chance?
I was invited to go. The guys over at Tolis, I believe, are the organizers. So they were kind enough to invite me. And initially I said, yes, I'm going to go. But then I could not secure a second leave from work because I'm going to FS Expo. So, the guys at work said, no, come on, you're going in June and you're going for quite some time. So, we're not going to give you another leave in February. So unfortunately, I had to cancel the plan to Montreal.
Yeah. Shame. Well, we'll meet next time. But
Hopefully.
I am quite excited to go because, funny enough, it will be the first time in my life after 10 years that I'll actually meet other people who do the same job as I do, which is really weird. Like, it's going to be very interesting. I'll meet all the guys from Laminar. I will meet all the other developers. So it's going to be some very interesting conversations, I'm sure. And I do look forward to know what the guys at Laminar have planned for X-Plane for the long run. And I think that's what we'll learn, hopefully.
Do you know if Austin is going to be there?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be there.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm really happy for you, and too bad I can't go. I think we are about getting ready to descent now, so I can see the glide slope there and the needles now coming up, and this is the top of descent. And again, we don't need to do anything, Marco, right? The plane will just begin the descent automatically.
Exactly, automatically.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, the Embraer, I think it's sometimes, I think it's designed for lazy pilots.
Well, it is pretty. So what would you have to do on like a 737 at top of descent?
So the only thing is, again, in the 737, you just really need to reset the MCP altitude, and that's it. Configure the FMC. And that's it. It begins the automatic descent itself as well, just like the.
So pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much the same. Okay. Yeah. I love the little profile there. The descent profile just looks so cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, I've studied the real Embraer, and I've looked at the displays on the real aircraft, and this is actually what you see here is pretty much what you see on the real aircraft. So there is the more you look at the real Embraer in real life, you will get a lot of appreciation for the authenticity of the X-Craft model, both from the visual perspective, but also from the system simulation perspective. Very, very well done by X-Craft, really. I really commend you, Marko. I think a lot of work has gone into this in the development of this aircraft, and I think the more I see real-world footage, and I spoke to a couple of real-world Egypt pilots as well, and I showed them, they're not into flight sim or anything, but I've showed them the aircraft. I made a few videos. They were all close-up videos, and I showed them the FMA messages here for takeoff, for landing, and they were impressed. They said, wow, this looks like the real thing. It's pretty close. They did point out a few things which you've pointed out, that they are under development, but pretty much they were pretty impressed with the visuals, with the systems, and so it's very, very authentic aircraft. Very well done.
Good. Well, thank you. I'm always glad to hear that from real pilots. And yeah, my favorite thing is when I get an email from one of them telling me like, oh, by the way, I'm just sitting in the cockpit right now, and then send me a photo of something. That's always very cool.
Tom David, welcome aboard, my friend. I think you're see you here for the first time, so if you are, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here as part of the family. Great about FM speeds and holds are fundamental functions, IMHO, and I'd like to see them implemented first. Well, Tom, I think Marko has covered this a number of times, that those features are definitely coming, and they are very much aware of the fact that those are some of the fundamental parts of the system simulation. But I think there are priorities, again, for the team, and just knowing that there is a very solid roadmap, and in the next version we're going to see a lot of these features come to life, is very encouraging. So yeah, I personally I vouch for this aircraft. It's an aircraft that I personally enjoy flying, and I feel that it's worth the money. Definitely value for money if you consider the whole package. Definitely, this gets the Q8 pilot seal of approval without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the holds is something that will not be part of the next update. We'll definitely, it's definitely on our roadmap. We already have it in our system, and we've already looked into it. It's just really, really not easy. It will require a lot of work. It will pretty much require a custom autopilot, which it's like, oh yeah, sure, just make a custom autopilot, but like that's a big job, and people need to understand that. So we are planning to implement holds, but it will definitely take some more time. Everything else that I mentioned before is going to be in the next version. So yeah, I think the next version will pretty much have everything that everyone's been asking for except holds. And then we'll get there eventually too.
There's a question from Mr. Goko, and thank you very much for your support, Mr. Goko. Is there any difference between the EMB 175 and 195 other than size?
I mean, they just have different wings, different engines, different cabin configurations or cabins. I mean, longer cabins, different landing gears, but in general, they're the same plane, just bigger. But they're used for different routes. I know the shorter ones are mainly used in the US, the longer ones are mainly used in Europe. So yeah.
Oh, wow. TFK Linux Gaming just came in with a €22 super chat. Q8, thanks for the stream, and Marko, congrats to you and your team on this magnificent aircraft. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's very kind of you, TFK Linux Gaming. Thank you very much, sir. You are very generous, my friend. I appreciate it. All right. Here, let's do a quick cinematic flyby here as the aircraft turns. I think Active Sky is updating the weather as well. Just so beautiful. Looks so real. Marko?
Q8, thanks for the stream, and Marko, congrats to you and your team on this magnificent aircraft.
Well, thank you again, TFK Linux Gaming. Appreciate it. Marko, do you know this aliasing issue? And I explained, do you know through your interaction with Laminar if this is going to be fixed anytime soon?
I have not discussed that with them personally.
I see.
Yeah,
This
so
plugin you told me about really changes things, huh? It really is. The cockpit looks very, very nice.
Does,
yeah, you can see the details on the textures, on the cockpit textures, which is very, very nice.
Well, we just get some light in the cockpit. That's all.
Yeah, for
really.
sure.
Yeah.
Now, Marko, I have a question on the auto throttle. So now everything is, configured, and obviously as we change the speed will be adjusted automatically. When we are on final to land and right just after we disconnect the autopilot, should we also disconnect the auto throttle, or do you leave the auto throttle and it kind of disconnects just like an Airbus?
It disconnects on its own, but due to certain issues we've had with the combination, because there's always lots of different throttle options that users can, or inputs. You have the hardware, you have the keyboard, you can grab the manipulator in the cockpit, which creates it just has a lot of different overwriting inputs. So pretty much, long story short, you don't have to press the auto throttle button. It will disconnect itself, but you have to retard the throttles yourself.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a cloudy approach into San Francisco. And thank you very much, Stan. Yeah, go ahead,
If
Mark.
we go on our website and you just type xcrafts.com/speed, you'll have a clear overview of the speeds we should be using for our descent. For anyone who's not sure, I use it myself also. Once we have FMS speed implemented very soon, that will not be really needed unless you fly manually. But for now, it's always good to have like that overview, so you'll know at how many miles out of the airport you need to set, what speed you should set, and when to set the flaps, and when to set gear down and stuff like that. So that's just xcrafts.com/speed.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Dougal, would any of the mods, would you mind, or Stan, would you mind, please copying and pasting that link in chat, just for everyone's information, so that they're able to refer to it.
I could probably do that myself, you know.
I'm not sure if it'll allow you to paste a link.
Really? Let's try. Yeah, I'm actually able to. I see a few questions in the chat, so I'm gonna answer those. Some people have asked about the E2 embraers. There's definitely something that we would like to do. It's definitely something that's not very easy, because it's pretty much, it looks the same, but it's pretty much a whole new plane, a whole new product. It has a different cockpit, completely different instruments, which I'm not even sure how we would do at this point. It has different wings, different gears, different engines, so a lot of work. So it's something of a future project, but not right now. Also, there are still not that many of them flying around the world, so there are very few pilots who could help us actually implement all those systems accurately, because we do need those pilots to work closely with us and tell us all of this, and we need the documentation, which, if it's not available, there's not much we can do. So for that reason, we are not right now planning, or we also don't have the resources or capacity to also work on the E2s right now. So that is that answers that. Someone else asked, I bought the E175. There are two in my menu, so that's because you have the X-Plane 11 aircraft visualized in the configuration menu in X-Plane 12. So all you need to do is press on a top, kind of right above where all the planes are. There's a check which I think says something like show aircraft from previous versions or something like that. So if you uncheck that, you will see the correct one. Does this plane have a custom FMS LNAV VNAV work great? Yes.
All right, folks, we can see we have now, thank you very much, Marco, for answering the question and addressing the community there. I really appreciate that. So we have passed through 18,000 feet. We've set the baro to 3003, and we are getting pretty close now to our destination. We can see the mountain range here ahead of us. A little bit of clouds, just exactly as we expect based on the Navigraph charts data that we have interrogated as we begun the descent towards San Francisco. Again, I want to point your attention to one thing. If you look at the ground textures in X-Plane, although these are not ortho photos, they are still very representative of the kind of terrain that you'll find in a specific area. So in California, as you arrive into San Francisco, you expect to see these mountains passing through, the San Joaquin Valley. Normally, I think the route there to San Francisco, you pass through the San Joaquin Valley or just maybe a little bit north of that. But that area has mountains, and you can see those mountains here in X-Plane. The same goes for the actual terrain textures. So overall, I think, X-Plane really provides, in terms of the visuals, I think it does provide a reasonable fidelity in terms of the visuals. Yeah, it's not realistic. The elevation is probably off. But overall, from the environment, flight sim environment, I think it offers a very, very immersive and highly realistic flight dynamics, which I think makes it, the favorite sim for many in this hobby. Okay, thank you very much, Stan, for posting the link there. It's definitely getting better and better, yeah. All right, 13,000. There is restriction at 10,000. Again, everything is automated. Should we start reducing our speed at this point, Marco, or should we just continue?
Slowly. You could probably do it at like 12,000. I mean, you're not gonna break anything if you slow down a bit sooner.
Okay. So at 12,000, maybe we'll take it down to 240 knots, say?
250 is fine.
250 is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, very, very nice aircraft. Check it out. Look at the aircraft belly there. Look at those details. That's a really nice livery. Hopefully we'll be able to do a replay today, Marco.
Well, I've not been having crashes with replay for a while now, so I think the X-Plane has the latest updates have addressed that. Have you had any?
I've had a couple, yeah. Not with the X-Craft aircraft. I've had it, I can't recall which aircraft it was. I think the MD-11 is, the other day, we tried to do a replay, and it just crashed the sim, so...
I don't know if it makes any difference or if it's a total placebo effect, but sometimes I try to pause the sim before I go into the replay mode, and then it's not crashed in me yet, but maybe you can try that next time.
Yeah, we'll try that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start reducing our speed now to 250 knots. There we go, 250 is set. As we begin the descent to... through 10,000 feet, and we're going to also turn on the landing lights, and we can leave the taxi lights off. Okay, everything here looks good to me. Excellent. All right, 10,000, we're about at 250 knots, and I tell you, this scene looks very nice. X-Plane is definitely improving. All right. Now the approach course is the approach course will be set automatically, doesn't it?
The approach course, you mean like the DRS or?
Like the final approach course. So if I go
I mean,
here,
we just have to, all you have to do, if we have the ILS frequency entered, which I believe we do, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we just press on the preview button, which right now does only that. It previews the deviation course. And
Right.
then once we're aligned with the approach, we'll also actually arm the approach before that, but then we'll just switch from the FMS to the Vorlock source for the autopilot. So right now you can press the preview button, just on the left side of the glare shield panel.
Ah, okay, got you. All right, if we take a look here, the approach course is 284 degrees. So let's see, I'm going to set this to 284. Oh, God, I love that. See, normally what I do, Marco, on other aircraft is I switch to heading mode so that I can change the course and switch back to like LNAV or VNAV. But I'm very glad that you can do this. This is very smart, you know, very smart the way they've done this.
Mm.
Yeah, right. So we've got it there. We've got localizer 1. Excellent. All right, 8,250 knots. I think we're getting pretty close now. This is San Francisco right there. So we're actually pretty close now. I think we should begin reducing our speed.
Yeah, what are we, 29? Well, we're still good, actually. Let me go back to the chart. Once we'll be at 20 miles out, we'll gonna go to 210.
Okay, we are about 28 nautical miles out now. So, yeah, all right. Lovely.
Well, and I think the preview has now actually, it's receiving data from the ILS, so we can also see the deviation, which will, once we're aligned with it, it will also show. So in the next version, when we will have ILS auto tune, the preview button will, I believe, been a while actually since I looked into it, but it should come up on its own a certain distance from the airport. I think it could be like around 30 miles out actually. It will automatically tune the right frequency. And it will
Hello, I'm
also
from Brazil and I follow your
automatically
channel.
switch from the FMS to the Vorlock source, so you a lot more automatic things. Essentially, with the next version, you would just start a plane, take off, and you won't really have to do much. So it will be pretty boring, actually.
All right, we're going to go down to 210 knots, and I want to thank you very much, Igor Diaz, for your super chat, and welcome, my friend from Brazil. Thank you very much, sir, for being here and for your support. I appreciate it very much, Igor. Welcome to the Q8 Pilot channel, my friend. All right, we are now reducing the speed and to 210 knots. We are looking good. I think we should actually start reducing the speed further and maybe start extending flaps as well. We are at 5,000. Let me zoom in here a little bit so we can have a better visual there. We are looking good. We can see here the glide slope needle. That we're still okay. So, yeah, so we're good there. We don't arm this.
I think you can honestly extend this. You can extend the speed brakes now to slow down a bit more, because I can see the plane does tend to like kind of glide a lot, so it does take a while to slow down. So you can extend the speed brakes. So we'll slow down to 210. We can go to 280 now. Do flaps 1.
208, yeah.
180. Sorry. No, 180.
180. All right, there we go. 180 set. And we're going to go to flaps 1, yeah?
1, yeah.
All right, flaps 1 is set.
Can probably close the speed brakes now.
Okay. All right, before we forget, we're going to come to auto brake. We're going to use low. It's a very long runway at San Francisco, so we don't need anything more than low, I think. Right, there's a restriction there at 3,000. Should we go to VL now?
I would do it once I'm aligned with the actual runway, so we're almost there. So right now you can just press the approach button, which will arm the approach to APP.
All right,
right
approach is activated.
Okay. And then at this point you can press VL.
Right, VL.
Yeah, go ahead, press VL. Yeah.
Localizer captured.
Okay. And so now for an extra smooth transition into the glide slope. Like right now we're flying right under the glide slope, and we're continuing that way. If you adjust the FPA to go slightly higher, so now we're flying 2.7, I think if I see it right, degrees down. If you put it to like 2 or 1, we will descend at a slightly shallower rate, and we will perfectly get into the glide slope, at which point it will capture it as soon as the green arrow gets into the
Okay,
middle.
so how do I do that? FPA?
Oh, under the FPA, no, the straight knob under the FPA button.
Yeah. I just don't see which value is changing.
Oh, it's
okay,
right
got
on
it.
the PFD.
So we want
in
it
the
on
middle.
what? 2? You said 2?
1. 1 is fine, whatever.
1.
Like,
okay.
if you didn't do this, the glide slope will still be captured, because at 1800 feet the plane would level off until it flies into the glide slope.
Right. So I think we should probably reduce our speed now.
Oh yeah, actually we forgot about that. So let's go to 250, gear down, flaps 3.
You mean 150, right?
Sorry, yeah, 150. Sorry about that.
All right, we're gonna go gear down. Gear is going down, and we're gonna go to flaps 3.
Yep.
Alrighty. We have the runway in sight. We are on the glide slope and the localizer. We're looking good. And what was the final approach speed? I don't recall.
Well, you'll see it on there. You have the bug there.
Ah,
so you
that's
can
right.
just
Yeah,
set-
130 is approach, and reference is just below that.
You have it on the PFD, so you just set the blue selector.
All right, so let's go to
Yeah.
150. All right, so we're gonna go to the final approach speed. There we go.
And flaps 5.
All right. All right, flaps 5 is set. And we're looking good. Just look at that, guys. Wow. Okay, let's take a look here. We're almost 1,000 feet. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the autopilot now.
1,000.
Right, that's 1,000. And
Autopilot.
autopilot disconnected. No, I think it's not disconnected.
Autopilot.
Now it's disconnected. All right. A little bit of wind there.
Glide slope.
Approaching minimums.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
Minimums. Minimum.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
100.
Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide
50,
slope.
40,
Glide slope. Glide slope.
20, 10.
Bit of a floater there. And reverse. Welcome to San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen. Right, 80 knots.
Auto brake.
And we've made it safely.
Well done.
Yeah, it was a bit of a floater there. I'm still getting used to my Thrusmaster yoke. So there was a bit of a float there as we arrived, but overall, I think it was a pretty good, pretty good flight.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Alright.
You might have been floating because we should have set the speed to VRF. The reference
Oh,
speed
that's right. That's right.
for the touchdown, yeah.
Ah.
So you were just a bit faster.
What did I do? Why did the aircraft stop? What did I do?
Not sure. Not sure. Try to just kind of toggle the brakes.
Let me do that. Ah, it started moving again. Okay. It does some weird things sometimes. That's all right.
I would probably assume that would be the auto brake system, which currently right now is still the X-plane auto brake system. And I'm honestly not sure what it did after maybe you released the brakes or something. But yeah, that is one of the things that we also, of course, want to improve in the future. But there's about a million other systems, so we have to take things one step at a time.
Excellent. All right, let's bring the aircraft to a stop here. So, Marko, you said you do a pause, and then you unpause, and then you do
No. I would just like pause it, keep it in the pause, kind of go in the exterior view, make sure X-plane kind of digest that pause.
Okay.
And then I would go into replay mode, and then I would just go backwards.
And then you unpause.
You don't have to unpause ever, because when you go from the pause into replay, that's it. You're in the replay mode.
Actually,
And
it's
then
not.
you just go backwards.
I'm not sure what it's doing. No, that actually broke it.
Really, sometimes it needs to reload the weather or something. Just go for a normal replay, whatever you.
Yeah,
you
it
do normally.
just broke. Yeah, it just broke.
Ah, what a shame.
Unfortunately, yeah, that happens. Unfortunately, yeah.
I've not had that in months now, so I guess I've been lucky.
It might be Active Sky. That's what I'm using for the weather.
I mean, I assume that you do have a lot of plugins installed, and so it's entirely possible that some of them just don't like
It could
something, a small value somewhere, and explain that just it cannot, it doesn't know how to digest it, and it just refuses to continue.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. Yeah. But anyway, we'll load the aircraft back at San Francisco just for our closing remarks. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this this live stream. I certainly enjoyed it. Velociraptor, thank you for your 1 month membership here as a senior captain on the Q8 Pilot channel. I appreciate it very much. Well, if it happens, it always does it on a Q8. Yeah, it does always happens. Does it on a Q8 stream? That's very true. Yeah. I have been, we have been getting a lot of these, on during the live streams. I haven't really figured out what the issue is with those replays, but my hunch is that it's Active Sky, because every time that Active Sky is on when I'm doing a live stream, we're unable to do the replays. So yeah,
Does that ever happen when you're not in a live stream?
No, it doesn't. So it could be OBS, it could be something just triggering it. I'm not sure. But anyway, Marko, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here on the channel this evening. It was immense fun, and it was very inspiring, really listening to your explanations and your stories and your experience with development, and certainly about the roadmap of X-Crafts moving forward. As always, my absolute pleasure to have you here on the channel. Would you like to say a few things for the community before we conclude?
Yeah, so I'd like to thank my mom for raising me. I'd like to thank my dad also for being a good dad. An absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I hope that now with our weekly real-world flight plans, we'll be seeing a lot more of these live streams as well.
Excellent. I'd like to. Are you going to publish the schedule for those live streams beforehand, Marko?
I mean, whatever works for you, honestly. We are releasing a new flight every week, but if like bi-weekly works for you, that works for me. Absolutely, whatever works really.
All right, perfect. Liam, thank you very much for again upgrading your membership to Senior Captain. I very much appreciate it. Well, folks, this pretty much brings us to the conclusion of our live stream this evening. It's definitely been fun. I enjoyed it, and I hope that you've guys enjoyed it as well. Really thank you guys for being with me here 2 days in a row. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the support, the super chats, for members, subscribers, friends, likes, dislikes, all are welcome. Appreciate it very much. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.
Take care, guys. Good night.